to the second half of the Tostitos BCS National Championship, brought to you by the Fiesta Bowl. You look down on our stadium, a buzz, no one leaving. Auburn and Cam Newton lead Oregon and LaMichael James by 5 points as we get ready to start the third quarter. And keep in mind that Auburn will have the ball to start the half. So, Herbie, what do we make of what's ahead of us here, lad?
Well, I think, first of all, Auburn, I think we all sense that Auburn's offense really started to find themselves there in the second quarter. I think it's important for Oregon to continue to not worry about their stats when it comes to running the football. If you're getting beat up front, you've got to be able to get the ball out of the perimeter, whether it's running or passing. But I think we're in store for a very exciting second half where both offenses make the adjustments and really start coming after these two defenses.
So we shall see what adjustments were made. Ran into Nick Aliotti, who was coming back into the box, the coach's box. I was getting ready to say, you know what he said? How we doing?
Great first quarter. Second quarter got a little shaky there.
Exactly. So Newton ready to go to work. And the big fella. That's Washington from the 5. Cuts back to the left. And he is out of bounds on the far side, about the 28-yard line, as we take a look at tonight's Taco Bell touchdown spotlight.
One of the opportunities Cam Newton had in the first half was isolating his wide receiver, Emory Blake, against defensive end outside linebacker Kenny Rowe. The good thing Cam does here is step up away from the pressure from big Zach Clark, and he just throws it to a wide open receiver. And again, when you get a wide receiver matched up against a defensive end, that's a mismatch. You have to take advantage of it, and that's what Cam Newton did there in the second quarter.
So Newton brings the Tiger offense out. Here's the freshman. And Newton keeping it.
They really found their rhythm in the second quarter. We were both marveling at the way these defenses were dominating. Look at the first quarter for Cam Newton. And the second quarter, 258 yards in one quarter, 16 first downs in this one quarter there in the second quarter.
Lutzenkirchen, number 43. On the field for the Tigers. He's been a little bit quiet tonight. Eric Smith was shaken up on the kickoff return and is off right now. And that is Eric Smith being tended to. Newton steps away. Going to take off, dive for the first down. I'm not sure he's not going to get it. He's about a yard short. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 1. And now we've got an injured Duck player being tended to, and that's Terrell Turner, who's down. Cam is wincing.
Maybe a little bit of pain there when he scrambled. He had a dive, trying to dive for the first down. He came up a little bit short. You wonder, as he goes down, did he end up coming down on that shoulder or maybe even a wrist? Turner also coming close to making a tackle. He came up a little bit short. Turner, a big part of this game for what Oregon's doing defensively. Deion Jordan, who, remember, was involved in that altercation with Eric Smith, and he went into the locker room before halftime. He'll now have to step in for Turner.
Let's take a look at tonight's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate.
Kind of a different twist here in the national championship. And the safety, look at the hands here by the big fella, the senior, Matt Blanc. Securing and holding on to LaMichael James as he extends to get the entire ball outside of that goal line, which he was unable to do. But Matt Blanc, who would ever thought that before the game started, that he would have the Allstate hands play of the game.
So it's 3rd and 1. Eric is back on the field. Newton for the 1 and a first down. to the 40-yard line.
You mentioned you saw Nick Aliotti, the Oregon defensive coordinator, there at half, asking you how are we doing. And I think I talked about it late in the first half. Oregon has to try to commit an extra guy, an extra safety down close to the line of scrimmage to stop the run. And when they do that, Cam Newton is going to throw, and vice versa. When they sit two safeties back, they're going to run.
Here's Dyer. He battles for about 4. Kenny Rowe hanging on. First touchdown tonight was scored by Cody Burns on a 35-yard pass hurry from Newton. That was the first of 2 touchdown passes he threw, but then he missed a wide open receiver that would have been a third one. Stands tall, great time, far side, and there is Lutzenkirchen, his first catch of the evening.
Well, they slide him out of the backfield, and what a good job by Cam Newton showing patience. You see him out of the backfield, matched up again, and guess who's trying to trail him? Once again, it's Kenny Rowe isolated out in coverage, out in space, and Lutzenkirchen makes him pay for it.
Not a quick strike outside, and Harris jumped on that route. He was all over Zachary. They're very lucky that Harris didn't get there a fraction of a second earlier. He would have gone to the house.
You're absolutely right. He's a risk taker. They know that about Cliff Harris, and they will come back to that play on a double move to try to get him to bite and go around him. They're taking notes on the sideline. Gus Malzahn already knew that Cliff Harris will take chances. That confirmed it. I guarantee you they will go back to that look and try to go after Cliff Harris by biting up like that.
Fannin in the backfield, and Newton follows him short of the 10-yard line. He's down at about the 11. Boyette.
All month, people talked about how do you stop Cam Newton from running the football. You can't do it with one guy. You've got to do it with a group effort. Gang tackling is the only way you can slow him down. The time the Ducks were lucky enough to hold him short, put up another 3rd and 5 for Cam Newton in this offense.
Emory Blake is slotted to the right. Smith back on the field, in the backfield. There's that little play-action fake, and incomplete. Cody Burns was over there in that area. And again, Auburn settles for a field goal.
That's a big stop for Oregon. After the way the first half ended, the way the flow of this game was going, for Auburn to come out and have some big plays here, move quickly into the red zone of Oregon to force a field goal, that was big.
I think we got a shot of Malzahn, and he was not throwing bouquets at Cam Newton down there either. This is a 28-yard field goal. Good. And so it is 19-11. But it is still a one-possession game for the Ducks. It's their turn when you come back. Welcome back to the Tostitos BCS National Championship, hosted by the Fiesta Bowl, Glendale, Arizona. Home of the Arizona Cardinals, and a beautiful dome stadium here, jammed to the rafters. It was a tough, tough ticket. There's Malzahn and Newton going over something, and Coach was not happy with his quarterback during that last drive, and so now he's coaching him up on the sideline. So Ducks turn. Marner and Huff are back deep. There's an Oregon team that had averaged almost 50 points a game this year. They've been held to 11 here by the champions of the SEC. But we'll see what the Ducks come up with in their first series. Comes Huff out. Yard in the end zone. There's that end around look again, and he keeps it. And that time they were faking. They brought LaMichael James around, and they thought that the coverage team might jump on it, and they did not. And our aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. So 19-yard return brings it out just short of the 20-yard line. And Herbie, here comes Darren Thomas.
Darren Thomas's arm has been a big factor for Oregon. Oregon has not been able to run the football as much as they're accustomed to doing, so Thomas has had to throw it.
They're going to try the running game right away with LaMichael James carrying it, and Igwe makes the stop.
I don't think they're going to... Oh, they got another penalty here.
Flags are flying.
This was well after the whistle blew.
Following the play, personal foul, number 90 on the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
What's interesting about this is Nick Fairley has a reputation of being a dirty player. In fact, Darren Thomas, the Oregon quarterback, came out and said, yeah, he is a dirty player. Look at that right there. Fairley's been doing that all year. He did it this time right in front of the referee, and it cost him 15 yards.
Chiswick not happy, but he leaves him on the field. Quick strike, 2-and-A, crosses midfield for a first down, and McNeil unloads on it.
Boy, nice job by 2-and-A of catching the ball in traffic and then getting underneath Josh Bynes right there. It's a middle linebacker getting ready to knock you out. He secures the football and then cuts back underneath him and picks up more yards getting across midfield.
Well, they look determined to use a running game. They come with LaMichael again. Antoine Carter makes the tackle.
Darren Thomas that time made the proper read on the outside of Antoine Carter, but they're not getting any push at all against the interior of that Auburn defensive line. There's nowhere to run their option attack, even though they're reading the right man that time.
Busting into the open is LaMichael James for a first down. One of his best runs of the night.
Brent, this is tough sledding inside. Watch him run through the arm tackle of Fairley right there. Same guy that just pushed him down over the head for 15 yards. This time he runs right through a would-be tackle and picks up a first down. That is, like I said, that's tough sledding inside there against Fairley and that defensive line.
Fairley may have lit his fuse.
He may have.
Pushing his head down.
Yep.
A couple of tough runs here by James. We're going back to the old basics, and Darren is sacked from behind by Fairley. Number 90 rolled in again.
Carson York, unenviable position of being one-on-one against Fairley. The center, Jordan Holmes, tries to help out. And this is a mismatch on the backside of the quarterback, Darren Thomas. Oregon's offensive linemen are able to see the football and able to pick it up to avoid the turnover. Great play by the big fella that time, getting a little revenge, getting back to Oregon.
Pulls it back. Darren tries to drop it off. Can't find a receiver. Runs for the first down, and there's a flag.
Antoine Carter had his hands up, and he was yelling about being held. And finally, the official made the call. Mark Asper had him locked up as Thomas was running to the outside. Auburn took away the screen. Their defensive linemen are able to read that. Thomas.
Number 79 offense, 10-yard penalty for the spiral foul. Still second down.
And
Mark Asper.
Instead of Thomas giving up on the play, he decides to scramble. Look at Asper. He really locked onto the jersey there. Carter put up his hand saying, somebody call this. And finally they did.
On 2nd and 16, an inside running play with Varner. And Josh Bynes, their fine middle linebacker. Number 17 makes the stop.
Gotta wonder if Chip Kelly's thinking 4 down territory with that play call in 2nd and long.
And Bynes will shake it up now. There's Bynes going over to the sideline with the trainer.
Boy, Nick Fairley right now and Michael James going back and forth, jawing at each other as Bynes is going off the field. Remember, they got familiar with one another on the circuit, traveling around to the award shows. He's still talking to him.
And a freshman, Jake Holland, has checked in as the middle linebacker for Auburn. He's number 5. Jordan Holmes getting square with the quarterback. Pressure coming. Thomas drops it off underneath the Mail. Mail slips. Can't get his footing.
How about this? Instead of rushing Fairley and Blanc, 2 of the enforcers, they drop them back in coverage. Look at Fairley dropping back in coverage. Fairley's dropping like a linebacker with a zone pressure look. And instead of coming after the quarterback, they try to confuse Oregon's offensive line, and Fairley ends up making a play out in space against Mayo.
Jackson Rice in the punt. Darvin Adams is back deep. Hangs it high. Beautiful punt. But it rolls on into the end zone. Auburn football on the 20-yard line when you come back. They lead it 19-11.
The Tostitos BCS National Championship is brought to you by Tostitos, Lay's Classic, and Sun Chips. We make them natural. You make them fun. Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. Dr. Pepper, there's nothing like a pepper. And the Touchdown Big Box, only at Taco Bell.
So we welcome you back to the BCS National Championship here in Glendale, Arizona, hosted by the Fiesta Bowl, which was played here earlier in the bowl season. Oklahoma, a winner over Connecticut. And a brand new field was brought in for this championship game. It was laid down following the Fiesta Bowl. Dyer, the running back, in the backfield, gets this carry, tries to get the edge, and he's out of bounds after about a 5-yard gain. Let's go down below now to Tom Rinaldi.
Well, Brent, teams from both sides have been slipping since the opening kickoff in this game. On the Auburn side, they've been taking out rubber mats with huge rubber spikes on them. Every change of possession, the offense and defense rubs their cleats through it to try to improve their traction. Look for it for the rest of the game.
All right, Tom, 2nd and 5. Newton is wrestled to the ground.
Deion Jordan steps in for Terrell Turner, who went out earlier. He comes down, makes it very, very tough. That's a read for Cam Newton. He's trying to figure out if Jordan is going to take McCaleb or take Cam Newton. He had such acceleration that he disrupted the play before Cam Newton had any chance at all to read.
Pump fake. Deep down the middle. He overthrew Adams. Adams had a couple of steps on the defensive backs. He would have cruised into the end zone.
You knew, Brett, that the double move would eventually become a factor. 3rd and long, and Eddie Pleasant is going to bite on the inside move by Darvin Adams right there. He accelerates right by him. Pleasant's out of position. And if he puts just a little bit more air under it, Darvin Adams has another big touchdown for this Auburn offense.
Now they're going to try Harris as the punt return man against California in Berkeley. Oregon was struggling, and Harris took a punt to the house for a touchdown. Sophomore out of Fresno, California. Beautiful punt. And out of bounds. didn't get a shot. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line when you come back. This telecast available in 3D on ESPN 3D, brought to you by Sony. And the fans here at the Bud Light viewing party outside the University of Phoenix Stadium are experiencing the latest technology firsthand. Keep those glasses on if you want to see it in 3D. And there's our 3D camera, right eye and a left eye. There you are. Full set of 3D cameras covering it here tonight. So here come the Ducks. And LaMichael James cuts behind Darren Thomas, lead blocker. That was something. LaMichael was motioning to Darren to get out in front of him and pave the way for him. And LaMichael had an alley.
Great vision, great patience. It's a good job of cutting back. The play design to the right. Thomas willing to get downfield. It picks up a block on Mike McNeil.
Now they come right back with the running back again.
There's a lot of pushing and shoving, and right now this Auburn defense trying to impose their will on LaMichael James the last few series.
Play action. Darren Thomas rolls. Incomplete. He stuck it in there pretty good, but Etheridge was on top of Tuanay, and that looked from up here like he should have caught it. And now Etheridge on that far side is down, and they can ill afford to lose this young man. It was such a remarkable story. He injured his neck, and some thought he would not play football again, but he was able to come back. And let's check in down below with Aaron.
Hey, Brent, LaMichael James just came off the field with a left hand injury. He has 3 trainers surrounding him right now. They're looking at the top of his hand right now.
So we've got James down. That's why Barner is in the backfield, and we've got 2 big-time players down with Etheridge on the other side.
Yeah, Etheridge, as you said, is a big loss. Demetrius McNeil, true freshman, comes into the game.
Here's Darren, has time, can't find a receiver, and he is ridden out of bounds by Zach Clayton. Folks, when you talk about what the SEC has done, and it didn't just start 4 years ago, but where their strength is over almost any conference in the country at any time is in the defensive line. When you get a player like Fairley who can close like a defensive end, you look around the National Football League, check the roster of your favorite team. Chances are there's an SEC player in that defensive line. It is now 4th down, and look at the pressure that shows up here for Auburn. They coax a fake, drops it off. There it is. Great game planning by Chip Kelly, who had an automatic if they pressed and came off the gunner. And he threw the ball to Marvin Johnson for the 1st down. What a big play.
Brent, look at the touch and the patience here by Rice. I mean, look at this. Oh, wait. The guy's closing in on him, and he just puts it right over top of the defender, McNeil, who's in coverage. Chip Kelly again with the courage to make this call on 4th down. Another fake punt. They've done it a lot this year.
There's the play action. Darren Thomas strikes deep, high, 2-8, touchdown. Oh, what a no! He's tripped up on the 3-yard line. What a grab! Oh, what a catch by the young man. And McNeil saves the score. 43 yards.
Tuanay has had a great game, and I love the call by Chip Kelly. After getting the Auburn defense off the field, they've got to come back on the field after the fake punt. What concentration. A good throw that time by Darren Thomas. And the bigger receiver, Tuanay, goes up to make the catch at 6'5".
Now the Ducks will try to finish. Remember, LaMichael James injured on the sideline. Barner is the running back. Barner is jammed and thrown back by Lamanner.
Lemonier this time comes down and just completely takes away Barner in that attack. Again, you cannot have penetration when you're trying to run the zone read play for Darren Thomas.
Second and goal.
Looking over at the play charts, seeing the adjustments here. Paulson has been a target. Jeff Mayo could be a target.
Darren wants it himself. And he can't get away from the defense. McNeil is there.
This Auburn defense is going to make you earn it if you're going to try to run the football inside the 10-yard line. Even though they just gave up that big play to Tuanay, they take so much pride in making teams have to throw to get the ball into the end zone.
And LaMichael James returns. Third down. Barner to the 1. Fourth down and goal, and Fairley trips him up.
Without this effort here by Nick Fairley, look at him. He does not give up on that play. And if he doesn't chase that down, Barner gets into the end zone for a touchdown. Great effort that time by the big man.
Barner, and he is stopped. A great goal line stand by the Auburn Tigers, and there is a fired-up coach, Teddy Roof.
Watch Nick Fairley get penetration, completely just pushing the Oregon offensive line, and Jordan Holmes back into the backfield, allowing the rest of the Auburn defense to corral and get in on Kenyon Barner. McNeil is in there, the corner dip, Delon Washington.
The Auburn defensive line. They've done it again. Well, the DirecTV drive to the National Championship bus has completed its journey, providing us with live shots and coverage of both teams all week long at the Tostitos BCS National Championship. Look for it again soon on campuses across the country as the DirecTV mobile studio gets fired up for spring football come April. But both of these teams have been stopped at the 1-yard line. Remember, that led to a safety when Michael James could not get the ball completely out of the end zone. Here is Cam Newton to the 4-yard line on first down. If you're wondering about Newton's statistics here tonight, he has thrown 26 times. He's 17 of 26, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an early interception. He's been held to 14 yards rushing. And, of course, a couple of sacks have subtracted from that rushing total. Second down and 7. Snaps it off, complete for a first down. Lutzenkirchen, that's his second reception.
Oregon has got to do a better job of trying to get Cam Newton out of rhythm when he drops back to throw. When he has a chance to settle and get his feet set and make a read, pretty much right now he's been able to make the throws that he needs to from the second quarter on.
Dyer.
The other thing, the size of the Auburn offensive line beginning to kind of take control at the line of scrimmage, which means Nick Aliotti is going to have to continue to take chances by putting more people up close to the line of scrimmage against the run.
Dyer almost kept it, and Newton went, but there's a flag. So Newton kept it. Dyer on the dive, but there is a flag on this play, and it's going to bring this back.
Holding, 73 offense, 10-yard penalty, beat second down.
That's Lee Zimba, one of the fine offensive linemen, left tackle.
Zimba right there on the left side. He locks up with Casey Matthews and prevents Matthews from getting out there to make a play on Cam Newton in that running game.
Called it the best blocker in the SEC. Ryan Pugh out of Hoover, Alabama, over the ball as the center. He's the ringleader of this veteran offensive line. day. And Newton steps out of bounds with a first down. So here's the view from our DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam.
Well, Kenny Rowe, the defensive end again in the crosshairs of Auburn's offense, this time spying against Cam Newton and trying to make a play in space against a bigger quarterback. And not only is he bigger, he's pretty quick out in space, as Kenny Rowe just found out.
Dyer. That was plugged up pretty well in the middle as he tried to step over to the right. That offensive line deserves some recognition for Auburn. Brandon Mosley is over at right tackle, number 75. He started 10 games. Isom started 31 games. Pugh, 45. Berry, 34. And Zimba, 51. And now, if you're an Auburn fan, you're familiar with this. The team breaks its huddle and heads toward its fan base. Out in front, number 2, Cam Newton. 1 quarter to go for a BCS National Championship. They lead by 1 score. They have a second down and 9 from their own 25-yard line. Dyer, 3rd and short coming up.
Okay, Dyer has done a good job tonight running the football on the inside. 16 tough carries, 74 yards. And as always, 3rd and short, number 2, direct snap. Going to carry the football here for a first down. No.
Gave it away that time, and Dyer picked it up and then some.
How about that? Dyer has had a great game. The true freshman has been so big this year. He's actually over 1,000 yards now on the season. Broke the freshman record of Bo Jackson. And because he's able to run in the inside, it sets everything else up on the outside in the play-action pass.
Looking for an open target. Drops it off out of bounds.
Now, he wanted to throw off to his right. And again, they run Dyer, they run McCaleb, and then they try to get you out of position. How many times have we seen a double move here? This time he's going to go to the outcut against Jackson. He was able to hold on there with his footing. He had the Jackson backing out.
Well, that replay already showed Adams going to the ground, slipping.
Sure.
And then he has to come back the other direction. This is second down and 10. Zachary comes in toward the formation. And the clock.
Timeout. Auburn. First team timeout.
Gus Malzahn must have caught that from the sideline before the clock ran out.
So they burn a timeout, leading 19-11. Just underway here in the 4th quarter. Welcome back to the Tostitos BCS National Championship, hosted by the Fiesta Bowl. Well, the season-ending award, there it is, the Coach's Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper, and that will be awarded tonight to our winner. They will celebrate the championship. For Oregon, it would be the first in the school's history, and for Auburn, it would be their second. Newton, Matthews, and over on that far side, he is down short of the first down. It's interesting to look at the number of plays that have been run by these two teams. When you play Oregon, they put up about 70-some snaps a game. They've had only 52 today against the Auburn defense. 67 for Malzahn and the Auburn offense. So in effect, they have taken the Oregon game away from them here tonight. 3rd down. In trouble, incomplete, and he had Blake crossing. If they'd hooked up on that, it would have been a big gain.
There's a big risk here by Oregon's defense because they brought the house. They brought the linebackers, all three of them here. They brought one extra man than Auburn could handle up front, and it left their defensive backs one-on-one. If Blake's able to hold on to that, he's able to pick up the first down and a lot more yards.
So here we go, Herbie. Harris is back deep. Oregon needs a spark. 19-11. Harris, and he is just ripped down. Disdaining the fair catch. All right, we've got a timeout.
The Tostitos BCS National Championship is brought to you by Tostitos, Lay's Classic, and Sun Chips. We make them natural. You make them fun. Vizio, delivering entertainment freedom for all. Discover, official card of the Bowl Championship Series. And Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Well, the Ducks, in search of an offense, will have the ball here. 13-24, down by 8 points. Chip Kelly trailing for the first time in the fourth quarter this season. Darren Thomas rolling to the right. One hopper incomplete. Last 4 drives where we tell everybody how they have struggled offensively.
Going back to the safety where it started, obviously that drive started at their own 1-yard line. From that point on, a punt, and then being stopped at the 1-yard line when they went for it on 4th.
Michael picks his way. And there's a penalty flag.
It's right in there where they typically call hold.
Yeah, Brian Neal is the Big Ten umpire. This is an all-star crew.
Holding. Offense, number 42. Half the distance to the goal. Still second down.
Villamagné, the referee. I know that some Big Ten crews had some issues earlier in the bowl season. This crew has done a very good job here tonight. This is an outstanding officiating crew.
Once again, Oregon finds themselves deep in their own territory inside the 10-yard line.
The Rascals will be coming. And they've got him fairly. That's close to a horse collar. I wonder how he likes Carolina blue.
Brent, they want to read the in man on the line of scrimmage, Carter. But to do that, it's Goggins actually on the end. To the far left. See how Goggins stays outside? They want to run it into the middle, but they're not getting any kind of push whatsoever up front. That time by C.E. Kaiser, who got dominated by Fairley. If you don't get Fairley and the Auburn defensive line tired on long drives and tempo, Oregon has no chance to execute their offense.
3rd and 18. They're coming after Thomas. He got it out. Complete. Paulson. And Paulson is out of bounds, bailed out. Darren Thomas with a splendid job of saving this play, and then 42 worked his way open for 33 yards.
They brought the pressure by Josh Bynes. Watch LaMichael James, Brent. Good job of the blitz pickup. Buys enough time. And how about the patience and the vision downfield as the pressure was coming around Darren Thomas.
So here come the Ducks now. 1st down and 10. Play fake again, drills it for another 1st down to the far side, and D.J. Davis.
On that throw, and we watched them this week in practice, they practice it a lot. It's a quick fake. They try to get the cornerback, the defensive back, up close pass, and then Darren Thomas has to throw the ball on a rope to get the ball out there in space to Davis.
Etheridge back on the field. Remember, he was injured earlier in the game. Thomas fires deep downfield, and Etheridge was the defender right there, breaking it up. Didn't have much of a chance of completing that pass to Jeff Mayle.
He locked on a little bit too long here because Jeff Mayle has a history of making plays. He tried to get him behind that. Ball is actually thrown downfield there, and Mayle did everything he could. He went back to being his old free safety days and trying to keep the ball away from Etheridge.
2nd down and 10 from the Auburn 49. That screen to Davis. Greg Stevens is one of the defenders over there.
Tough play to make work without a lot of room. On the left hash, throwing a quick pass out there to the left. There's not a lot of room for your receiver to make something happen, even if he's able to get a block. Auburn is just too fast back into the boundary like that.
Now Roof and Auburn able to substitute on defense. Got an extra defensive back out for 3rd and 8. Hit as he releases it. Incomplete. And the pressure from Bynes, number 17.
Miscommunication this time. You had Jeff Mail on the outside that should have run, because of the coverage, a vertical. They weren't able to pick up Bynes because they didn't have enough men inside. Mail's got to continue downfield and try to beat Washington downfield with quickness and speed to be able to separate from the smaller defensive back. He misread that. The quarterback threw it deep, and Mail tried to cut it a little bit short. If nothing else for Oregon, they try to flip the field a little bit and get Cam Newton and Auburn a little bit deeper in their own territory.
Darvin Adams is back. And it was a whistle prior to the punt.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So it is 4th and 13 now for Rice. There's Adams. And it'll be out of bounds. So Auburn will take over on its own 21-yard line when you come back.
I'm Scott Van Pelt with the Sports Center right now, brought to you by Discover. How important is it to be a Michigan man? In Ann Arbor, it's a big deal. Les Miles is, and a source close to him says that LSU coach Les Miles would likely accept the vacant Michigan job if it was offered. This, according to ESPN's Joe Shad. More coming up on Sports Center after the ball game.
The only scoring that we've had in the second half of this BCS National Championship game is a 28-yard field goal by Auburn. Oregon has not scored since 10:58 to go in the second quarter. That's how much they've been dominated as Auburn takes over again. 1st down and 10. McCaleb lost a yard. Sort of a slow developing handoff, huh?
Yeah, it sure was. And again, trying to find a little bit of a running seam back towards the Auburn sideline, running back to the short side of the field, where McCaleb's speed and his big plays have been to the wide side of the field because of his speed on the perimeter. Puts Auburn in a very rare 2nd and long situation.
Pump fake by Cam. Newton dances away from Bear, and then it is incomplete. A fine play. Matthews.
Again, 2nd long, and they use Kenny Rowe in that spiral from the right to the left. See how he moves into the middle? He's just waiting for Cam Newton to potentially take off and scramble, but give the Oregon coverage that time the credit for eventually Cam Newton getting pressure. Defensive linemen all standing up. We've seen it all night. When they get Auburn to 3rd and long, they want to create confusion, try to keep the offensive line and Cam Newton guessing on where the pressure may eventually come from.
Arioti loves pressure on 3rd and 12. This time they stay back, and Newton burns them. Cam Newton found a seam and ran it out to the 38-yard line before he was drilled, and he is getting up slowly.
All that moving around and the creativity backfires here on Oregon. This almost looks like a designed quarterback draw here on 3rd down and long. Picks up a nice seal block that time by Mike Berry, and then has, of course, great speed. Accelerates upfield for the 1st down.
Inside of 10 minutes. Down to 2 seconds. Dyer. Basinger with the stop.
3rd down conversion by Cam Newton, so big late in this game with Oregon down by 8. Cam Newton is obviously not in any hurry as Oregon is trying to get the football back into the hands of Darren Thomas.
And of course, Gene Chizik is now 9 minutes away from a national championship. Remember, he has already been a coordinator on a national championship team for Mac Brown and Texas when they beat USC out in the Rose Bowl. Chizik was the defensive play caller that night for Mac. And here comes Newton, his quarterback, and he is down. And again, slowly getting up. But Gene Chizik has never lost a game as a coach in a bowl situation. That's right, he's undefeated as a graduate assistant, as a position coach, and last year he beat Northwestern in overtime, and now here tonight he's closed in on a national championship. The man is an outstanding football coach and a very nice man to be around. 3rd down and 5.
Working that play clock.
Play action, drops it off for a 1st and 10 to Fannin. Fannon's first catch of the night, and he is into Oregon territory.
This is a really nice job by Mario Fannin, the senior. Watch him coming out of the backfield, just patiently work back to the middle, getting away from the linebackers, finds the opening. He has become their 3rd down back and does a good job of being in sync with Cam Newton. There's a big time. There's Bo Jackson cheering him on. You can tell that Cam feels very comfortable with Mario Fannin on those 3rd downs.
Seconds off the clock. Dyer hit in the backfield for a loss, and that was a fine move by Kenny Rowe.
As fast as Oregon can score, Brent, you still kind of sense down 8 late in this game, the emotions, the wear and tear of the game. Auburn's had 75 plays. You just feel like if Oregon's unable to score, if Auburn is able to score, this is a huge drive in this game.
Fewest points that Oregon has scored this season, if this stands. They scored 15 in beating Cal, and that was their season low. And the Auburn coaches spent a lot of time going over the Cal tapes because the Cal defense of Jeff Tedford played very well against the Ducks. Here's a little pump fake by Newton, and threw high outside. And for a lot of you who are watching, it'll be interesting to see what the pro scouts, what the fans think. I have a feeling that Cam Newton can play at the next level. I know he's thrown high a little bit here tonight. Got a strong arm. You can't stop him on 3rd and 2, Herbie. I think he's a 1st rounder.
I think he'll come out and he will go in the 1st round. This is a huge 3rd down right here. Oregon's got to try to get pressure to disrupt his rhythm. Cam Newton has been on fire here, either scrambling or finding open receivers, converting 8 of 15 3rd downs in a game.
And you can see that Fannin, the 3rd down back that Herbie talked about, is back in the game. Blitz pickup, throws deep down that far side, and is he out of bounds? That was very close to Zachary.
Zachary usually catches the ball close to the line of scrimmage. Once he secures the football, clearly out of bounds. So the Oregon defense again holds up and gets the ball back to their offense, providing there is a fake punt here on 4th down or a fumble on the return, and gets the ball back to Darren Thomas now with 6:42 to go. Oregon's defense has done about all they could do keeping Cam Newton to 19 points.
Handles the low snap and does not give Harris a chance. Coverage teams for Auburn tonight have done an outstanding job. It's up to Darren Thomas in the offense now. Welcome back to the Tostitos BCS National Championship. An aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. Our crowd tonight, 78,603. That is the largest crowd in this stadium's history. And the Auburn fans are enjoying this greatly right now. 6.5 minutes away from their second national championship. Darren Thomas incomplete on that first down throw to an A, the intended target. It'll be 2nd and 10. And time starting to become a huge factor for the Ducks.
Darren Thomas and his arm. He's 21 of 30 for 295. His decision making and his accuracy going to be very big here late in this game to give the Ducks any chance at all moving the football down the field.
Third and 10. And that was Antoine Carter, who made, in my mind, the biggest play of the year for this Auburn team against Alabama.
He sure had a great play when he caught up to Mark Ingram. And here this time with Auburn, and they just are pinning their ears back. They know what Oregon's trying to do here. Throwing the football. That time, good job by Carter, not getting blocked, jumping up and knocking it down.
First down. They went back to number 23, Jeff Mayle. Everyone who plays him says, you know, he is really sneaky fast.
And the accuracy that time by Thomas of putting the ball right where it had to be allowed Mayle to catch the football, turn, and get upfield in a hurry to get the first down.
116 yards receiving by Mayle here tonight. Incomplete. DJ Davis was the target. Mike McNeil was there. Herbie, when you look at this number, it's overwhelming. Oregon averages 303 yards rushing a game. Tonight they're down at 75.
Well, they knew the battle up front was probably going to favor Auburn because of Nick Fairley and that entire group. The only way they're going to run the ball is if they got them tired with their tempo. They've not been able to do that.
Here's Mayle again. Might have slipped through for the first down, but he's short of it, and here comes a big third down for the Ducks.
And because of that lack of ability to run the football, the answer is to get the ball out to the perimeter to guys like Jeff Mayle or DJ Davis or anybody to the outside as fast as you can. That's why you look at the passing yards up at 328. A lot of those are kind of versions of the running game, just extended longer handoffs.
Hit in the backfield by Carter. Antoine Carter breaks through on LaMichael James and throws him for a loss. The SEC defense standing tall again.
Well, it's easy to say this, but Darren Thomas, that was his read. Carter collapses down, and he actually took both of them out. Thomas and that time, James.
Adams with the fair catch at the 29-yard line. Well, Oregon did threaten. Varner stuffed.
Twice inside the red zone, once an interception, once turning it over on downs, coming away with nothing inside Auburn's 20-yard line. Give Auburn's credit to the defensive line, especially that play that you just showed, that we just showed, kind of symbolic of the way this entire game has gone for Oregon's offensive line when it comes to their running game.
Now Zimba, Berry, Pugh, Isom, and Mosley, that offensive line will try to put it away. 5 minutes. Newton.
That's where Nick Aliotti and the defense clearly have to take chances and just overload the line of scrimmage and blitz Cam Newton. Try to use their timeouts here and get the football back to the offense.
And Newton shaking up a little bit as he comes off. But let's go back because I want to show you this great play against Alabama. Remember now, we're talking 24-0, folks. This would have been 31-0. And look at Carter. That's about a 40-yard run. Washington goes after it and recovers it rolling out of the end zone. And so Antoine Carter, a young man from Dillard High School in Fort Lauderdale, made a huge play. I just cannot imagine anybody coming back against Saban and the Tide down 31-0. I mean, 24 was bad enough. I thought that was a remarkable performance. But there's the young man who made that play.
Being standing on the field for that game when that play happened, because you're right, if Ingram scores or Alabama scores on that possession to go up 31-0, the game's over. He definitely not only saved that game and got Auburn some life, but he also turned the momentum of that football game around on the road in Tuscaloosa.
2nd down and 9. 5 minutes left. Ducks need the ball back in a hurry. Fumble! And they've got it. Harris jumps on it. The big turnover. And there is a penalty flag. Hold on, the line judge threw a penalty flag.
Following the fumble and recovery, we have a dead ball, personal foul, number 45. That 15-yard penalty be assessed. First down, Oregon.
So we brag about him, and then he goes out and commits a personal foul. And
Brett, watch the effort here by Casey Matthews. He realizes he's got to make a play. He comes all the way from the backside against Cam Newton and did exactly what we just showed with Antoine Carter against Alabama. You said they need to make a play to get the ball back in a hurry. Was this fast enough? What great effort by the senior Casey Matthews to knock that football loose, and the Ducks have life here now late in this game.
Matthews, one of the great football families in this country. Son of Clay, who played great linebacker for the Browns. His brother's a star with the Green Bay Packers, going down to play Atlanta over the weekend, a playoff game. Now Darren Thomas. Here's Jeff Mayo. So number 23 has now become the go-to guy.
Great read that time by Thomas. Soft coverage by Auburn. And right now, Oregon is thinking, hey, let's make the safe throw, the easy throw. If Auburn's going to crowd the line of scrimmage and crowd these wide receivers, Thomas eventually is going to have to take a chance and try to get behind them on single coverage. And the receivers got to get separation.
Almost intercepted. Tynes, the linebacker, was standing there, and it was an ill-advised throw. Barner, the intended target.
Well, the snap isn't the greatest, but nonetheless, look at Nick Fairley again. Again, in the line of scrimmage, setting up camp every time that Darren Thomas drops back to throw the football.
2nd and 10. Thomas takes off, and he is out of bounds short of the first down. So here comes your 3rd down.
You and I called some games last year with Ndamukong Suh, who just took games over as a defensive tackle. And I didn't know how long we would have to wait to see another Ndamukong Suh. Nick Fairley this year in college football has become that kind of player where he could take a game over as an enforcer in the middle of that Auburn defense.
3rd and 5. Incomplete, and it'll come to this 4th down. 2-A, the target had him open.
2-A, we just talked about separation. You're going to match up with a wide receiver isolated one-on-one against a safety in Zach Etheridge, who's been fighting cramps to stay on the field. 2-A got the separation. He was wide open. Thomas just missed the throw. Obviously, Nick Fairley matched up over the left side of the offensive line between the left guard and the left tackle. Keep an eye on him.
Michael James goes far to the left. They come back underneath, and a great grab for a first down. Davis is smacked at the 10-yard line by McNeil. And the LaMichael James to the left side set this up coming the other way.
Brett, watch the umpire here set a screen on Zach Etheridge. He's in play. He's part of the game. But the umpire sets a screen and frees Davis after he makes the catch to get the first down and then get downfield and down to the 10-yard line.
Ducks need a touchdown and a two-point conversion. Drop it down over the middle. Paulson upended at the 4-yard line and out of bounds. McNeil.
Ducks have been inside the red zone and come away with nothing. Once an interception. Once they went for it on fourth down, it came up a yard short. Back inside the red zone. Remember, they can get a first down inside the 1-yard line. It's not second and goal.
Caught him moving. They caught Fairley.
Offside with contact. Number 90 on the defense. Off the distance to the goal. Still second down.
Surprised we've not seen this a little bit earlier where you try, they're jumping the count a little bit, and a lot of times the offensive lineman will come back and tell the quarterback, hey, let's try to go with a freeze count to try to get them. That time it worked, and Jordan Holmes, the center, was pretty excited.
Short. Stuffed. McNeil, Mike McNeil, coming up from his safety spot.
Tell you why it's important that Oregon hold on to their 2 timeouts. If they figure out a way to score down inside this 5-yard line of Auburn's, and they don't make the 2-point conversion, they need those timeouts to try to stop Auburn and get the ball back.
This is where they have backed up here tonight against this Auburn front.
Thomas has got to fake it, get outside, and give him an option to run or throw. There's no success at all in the interior of this Auburn defense. Got to get outside.
Timeout.
Oh, that was big.
Burn a timeout with 2 seconds on that clock.
Those timeouts are so important. It looked like maybe a little bit of a mental breakdown there by Michael James.
Well, a reminder to stay tuned for the Ford BCS postgame show immediately following tonight's game. There's the young man who forced the fumble by Newton. Casey Matthews was on the all Pac-10 first team. A year ago, he was on the second team. Had 3 interceptions this year at that middle linebacker spot.
Remember, they threw a pass deep in Auburn's territory. They rolled to the right and threw back to James for an easy touchdown. They're not going to have any luck running into the middle of the defense. They've got to either throw it or get outside on the perimeter to give themselves a chance.
Touchdown, Oregon. LaMichael James. Now the 2-point conversion.
That timeout, Brent, that they ended up using on the previous play is so important. If they missed a 2-point conversion, they're now only down to 1 timeout.
Runs down the snap, fires back for the 2. Jeff Mail got it. We are deadlocked at 19.
This all started, Brent, as you mentioned, with the effort by Casey Matthews to knock the ball away from the Heisman winner, Cam Newton, which eventually Oregon was able to secure there with Cliff Harris. Then a big, pivotal fourth down play, trying to convert, trying to come up with something to keep the play alive. The umpire gets in the way of Zach Etheridge. Davis gets downfield inside the red zone. What a call by Chip Kelly on the touchdown. Draws Greg Stevens towards Darren Thomas, dumps it on the shovel pass underneath with the lane there to run, and a two-point conversion. Jeff Mail knew exactly where he wanted to go. You'll see him come from the right to the left. Thomas handles the snap, knew exactly that he was going to eventually throw it back without even looking to Jeff Mail, and Mail holds on to the football for the two-point conversion. The only problem is now you gave Cam Newton 2:33 to go with 2 timeouts.
So it is 10 o'clock Mountain Time here in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Those of you who are channel surfing, we welcome you. We are 2.5 minutes away from the second overtime in the history of the BCS National Championship. Washington from the 3. Busts the tackle, and he's down at the 25-yard line. And here comes Cam Newton, the Heisman Trophy winner. 2:27 and 2 timeouts. Gus Malzahn, the signal caller, alongside him. And here we go.
This is the stage that Cam Newton wants. Game's tied. It's a year where you won the Heisman Trophy. He's been through so much adversity. He's got the game in his hands, the ball in his hands, trying to get a field goal or more to win this game for the Tigers.
Flare outside, and Blake runs for a first down.
Little things like accuracy from Cam Newton. Missed tackle by Oregon allows Blake to pick up a nice chunk of yards out to their own 40.
And now Auburn starts to pick the tempo up a little bit. Remember, they have an excellent field goal specialist. Dyer, the freshman, is wrestled down at the 46-yard line. Pleasant, and he gets back up. Dyer gets back up. Was he not on the ground? Did he stay on top of Pleasant? The Ducks are saying, wait a minute, he was down. But everybody is moving up there.
Brent, I think he would have stopped running if it weren't for his own sideline. His entire sideline told him to keep going.
37 yards. Let's take a look at this. His body
is under review.
And we will review it, because I'll tell you, from that look, I did not see a knee down on the ground. Now, I know it's a first look, but take a closer look here, Herbie.
Well, he comes down on top.
The right knee is the question.
Pleasant. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, because he was close to his own sideline, I think they encouraged him to keep running and not give up on the play. He was ready to stop right there. And then I think he heard people yelling, go, go, go. Officials never blew it dead on the field.
The question is going to be, was the right leg down as Pleasant wrestled him to the ground? That will be the issue here. So, Herbie, the question is, was the entire body on top of the defender here?
He looks like he's on top of the defender to me. I mean, he got his hand down, but he got his hand down, but he got the palm of his hand down.
One of the biggest instant replay decisions we've seen in a BCS National Championship game. The ball has been spotted at the Oregon 23-yard line. Right there. It looks like you can see daylight.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Derek Mobley and Bill Bonnell blowing up those pictures down in the truck are outstanding replay people down there rewinding the tape so you can get a closer look at it. And here comes the call of the night by this officiating crew right here. Steve Beckman will make the decision. Dave Perry gave us the rule, and here we go.
Following the review, the ruling on the field stands.
A 37-yard run in slow motion for Michael Dyer. And Auburn is back in business, and Dyer is now run for 123 yards.
Good job by Dyer, and even a better job by the officiating crew. There have been 3 or 4 times there have been some close calls we've had to review, and every time they've had it called right on the field. That was a tough call to get that one right.
And credit the Auburn sideline.
Absolutely.
They were fortunate that it was over there, and they told him, keep running, keep running. First down and 10. We are inside of 2 minutes. Dyer busting ahead across the 20. And remember what I told you about Wes Byram at the end of the first half. His career long is a 52-yarder. His long this season is a 48-yarder at Mississippi. Wes Byram is out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He is the all-time scoring leader at Auburn with more than 355 points.
And he also has five game-winning field goals in his career. He has 2 of those this year. Now Cam Newton is just going to kill as much clock as he can and eventually get the ball to the middle of the field.
And the freshman Michael Dyer from Little Rock, Arkansas, comes up big along with that Tiger defense. And now they'll center it up inside of a minute.
We're looking at about a 35-yard field goal from here.
That young man went to one of the great high schools in South Florida. A lot of football players come out of St. Thomas Aquinas, and that's where Wes Byram played his high school football. Dyer busts for the end zone, reaches for it, touchdown. Take a seat, Mr. Byram. Mr. Dyer says there'll be no field goal tonight. Let's take this to the house.
Dyer, as he got the right knee looks like it may have been down. We have to see where the football was. This will be a great look right here. It's completely surprising Oregon.
That time he's down.
Yeah,
but where is the ball?
Yep, it's going to come down to where the football was.
No
the
question.
right knee touched.
No question.
Previous play is under review.
But Brent, the play itself, it hit so fast that it just shocked Oregon's defense. Dyer puts an exclamation point on his night tonight. What he's been able to do now, 144 yards for the true freshman in the national title. If Boyette did not come over, he would have just taken Eddie Pleasant into the end zone. Knee is down. Tough to see it from that angle where the football is. Up being a true freshman, playing high school football in Little Rock last year on this big a stage, having this kind of night. It looks like he's a little bit short.
I think so.
Yeah.
I would not at all be surprised to see this spotted just outside the goal line, and Mr. Byram may get his chance after all. You've got 10 seconds left on the clock.
Either have Mr. Dyer or
Now, do you
Mr.
run?
Newton.
Well, you don't want to run here. You might want to throw it incomplete in the end zone.
Well, true.
Okay, you don't want to be running the ball.
Well, you got a couple timeouts. Well, that's the...
What would you do?
If the ball's at the 6-inch line,
Right.
and you've got still 2 timeouts to go,
Let Newton carry it in?
Cam Newton's been almost unstoppable the entire year, but Dyer's got the hot hand.
How about you
Run
folks at
right
home?
up the middle.
How about you folks at home? If they don't give him the touchdown,
6 inches.
what would you do right here?
Who's been the man all year for you in these kind of situations?
Number 2.
Yeah. And if he, when he jumps, he's 6'6", 250. He goes airborne, reaches the ball across. That's how he's done it all year. Still have 2 timeouts left.
Here we go.
Following the review, it's been determined that the runner's knee was down. The ball was at the half-yard line. It'll be first go at the half-yard line. The clock will start on the ready for play.
What wonderful drama we've had here tonight.
Because of the size advantage that Auburn has, 45 pounds per man up front.
Right.
You've got to just go right into the middle, right up between the right guard or left guard. Oh, they're kicking a field goal. Oh, my man. What the heck?
I thought
Kick
maybe you were going to send Byram on a run up here now.
Yeah.
So here it comes. The senior for St. Thomas Aquinas, and timeout been called by the Ducks.
I still, with 10 seconds, would consider running the football. You got 2 timeouts left. I just don't trust kickers is my problem.
You're not alone in the football community with that.
He has 5 game-winning kicks in his career, 2 this year. He's used to it. He's a senior. He's made some big kicks.
I think Malzahn might be lobbying. That's for you, Herbie. Your point of view.
Run the big.
I think Malzahn is lobbying.
That's what they must have. Did somebody call them from up here? Run the football and use your timeout.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think Malzahn went into that huddle because Newton's going for his helmet.
Go get it, big fella. Go.
Here we come.
I say nothing. This is how the season should end, right? Cam Newton, by far the player of the year in the country, should score the game-winning touchdown.
Oh, they're going to take time off the clock is what they're going to do here with this formation.
Maybe.
Make sure that Oregon doesn't have a chance to return the kickoff is what they're going to try to do. And he's tried to sneak in first of all and didn't make it, and now they've got to stop it. So now so Wes Byram coming out here. Backup quarterback Neil Cottle is the holder. He's from Hoover, Alabama. Young man from Georgia, Josh Harris.
This is where, Brent, when you go to all these practices that you and I go to, you wonder, where's the snapper? Where's the holder? Where's the field goal kicker? They're usually inside playing video games in the air conditioning during 2 days. You hope that all the reps that they do all year, it just becomes automatic. It's not so much about Wes under these kind of circumstances in the kick. It's the snap and it's the hold. You want to make sure they get it down.
This is for all the Tostitos. Auburn wins the BCS National Championship. To 19. The confetti flying here in Glendale. And the SEC has now won 5 consecutive BCS National Championships. So let's go down below.
Thanks very much, Brent. Alongside Gene Chizik and Cam Newton. Gene, everyone predicted a high-scoring shootout, but you said throughout the key matchup in this game was going to be your defensive front against their offensive line. How did that bear out in this game?
Well, let me tell you what. First of all, I just can't be more blessed to be a part of a whole team like this. Man, God was with us. Our defense played outstanding today. We knew they were going to play outstanding today. We worked our rear end off all month long. This is for the Auburn fans. This is for the Auburn family. I couldn't be more proud of everybody involved. I love everybody. War Eagle.
Gene, from where you were 2 years ago, everything you endured when you left Iowa State to this moment, what does this moment mean to you, given that journey?
Look around. Look around. It's all about the fans. It's all the people that stuck with us through thick and thin. We got the greatest fans in the country. We got the greatest administration in the country. We got the best players in the country. It's not about me. It's about Auburn University today.
Finally, G to G, your motto this season. You were good last season. You wanted to be great this season. What made that happen?
I think it was our coaches, our players, a sense of chemistry of our team that I've never seen before. Today, I can tell you this, we're the best football team in the United States of America and War Eagle.
Congratulations, Gene. Cam Newton, heading into that final drive. Score tied. Less than 3 minutes to go. What did you tell your team in that huddle?
Everybody was just staying calm. You know, we've been through this before. And, you know, we had to execute the plays that coach was calling, and we had to stay calm and just execute.
You have had so much adversity. This team has come from behind, but you personally, you fought through it. You've maintained your focus throughout. How would you describe your own journey from Blinn when you left there to get here?
You know, it's just a God thing. You know, I thank God every single day. You know, I'm just his instrument, and he's using me on a consistent basis daily. You know, I just want to, you know, he's using me to extend his word. And I'm a prime example of how God can turn something that was bad into something that was very great.
What did this season teach you about you, your family, what you believe that you didn't know before it happened?
Anything is possible. I guarantee you 5 or 6 months ago, nobody would have, you know, betted their last dollar to say that Auburn University is winning the national championship. But now, on January 10, 2011, you know, we're smiling right now saying, you know, we did it.
National champions for the first time in more than half a century. Cam Newton, congratulations. Brent?
Tom, thank you very much. So Wes Byram scored all of Auburn's points in the second half. Early, he had a 28-yard field goal. Then, with 2 ticks of the clock left, the last play of the game, the 19-yarder to send Auburn to a second national championship, 22-19. How about Cam Newton on the sideline? Now watch Coach Gene Chizik. And there's always another side. And we take you live to Auburn, Alabama. This is Toomer's Corner. There come the rolls of toilet paper. The tradition down there, everybody meeting as the Tigers celebrate their national championship. We'll be right back for the Ford BCS postgame show and the presentation of the BCS National Championship Coaches Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. And we're back with the ceremony right after this.
The Ford BCS postgame show is brought to you by the new 2011 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough. Welcome to the Ford BCS postgame show.
So the Auburn faithful staying right here in the stands for the presentation of that championship trophy, and of course all the members of the media swarming around Cam Newton. And there are a few rolls that did not make it to Toomer's corner. And for the first time since '57, the Auburn Tigers will host the championship trophy. And what a remarkable journey this young man had this year. With everything being said and written and speculated, he somehow just stayed on track and focused on the next game one at a time. 4 times this year, Auburn trailed by double digits. Somehow they came back and won all 4 games.
And for the SEC, that's 5 in a row. 7-0 now in the BCS when they've had a chance in the national championship. And if you go all the way back to when Florida played Florida State in '96, it's 8 in a row when a national championship's been on the line. Dominance continues.
And it was that big defensive front. Nick Fairley, Antoine Carter, Zach Clayton, Michael Goggins, Nosa Igwe, Mike Blanc, Corey Liminaire. What a night they had. So, time for the trophy presentation. Let's go down below to John Saunders. John.
Brent, thanks a lot. First of all, congratulations to the Oregon Ducks on a great season. We also want to thank the longest running title sponsor in the BCS, Tostitos Frito-Lays. But it's time now to present the Coach's Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper, and Bill Hancock will do that, Executive Director of the BCS.
Thank you, John. On behalf of the 11 conferences that manage the BCS, first I want to congratulate both of these fine teams on a great effort tonight and throughout the season. And now on behalf of the American Football Coaches Association, it's my honor to present the Coach's Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper to Coach Gene Chizik and the Auburn Tigers.
Gene? Coach, we'll let the players handle the trophy for a little while. First of all, Auburn's first national championship since 1957. What do you have to say to the War Eagle fans?
Look at him, John. First of all, I think we're only supposed to have about 17,000, but it looks like we had about 50,000 here. That's who our fans are tonight.
I want to know what went through your mind when Oregon converts the two-point conversion and ties that game with about 2.5 minutes left.
Well, first of all, you know, I want to thank God for being blessed to be a part of the Auburn family and this football team, and nothing went through my mind, John. We've been there so many times. We just said we got to line up and do what we do and do it again one more time. And the Auburn Tigers came through, and I love these guys, and I love you guys.
Two of the most explosive offenses in all of college football. In your mind, did you think it would come down to a defensive battle?
Let me tell you something. I could not be more proud of our defense. For 1 month, our defense was bound determined to show up at this game tonight and play the best game of their life. And our defensive guys, they played their rear end off, and I love them. And they're the best, man. I appreciate you guys.
Coach, congratulations. I'm going to bring in two of your players who were a big part of the game. First of all, Michael Dyer rushed for 143 yards. He's the offensive player of the game. You had the long run that set up the game-winning field goal, and you said to me a while ago, even you thought you were down for a moment.
You know, I was just going out there trying to make a play, do something special for our team, and keep my feet moving and do what Coach asked me to do, just keep my feet moving. And we went out here and played hard tonight, so I just, you know, I'm glad to be here with my teammates.
Again, the defense has played so tough. You guys have been in this situation so many times. Do you feel that made a big difference, the fact that you've played close games and had to play from behind before?
I mean, it was good. Our defense, you know, our defense came out there and played good. No one gave me respect, you know, opportunities to go out there and play and win games for us. But tonight they won the game. They stopped them when we needed to stop. You know, they played excellent defense for us tonight. And our offense came out there and we played real hard too. So, you know, played a team game tonight.
Michael, congratulations. And time now for the defensive player of the game.
Nick Fairley. Big Nick Fairley, folks. 5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, tackles for loss. You had a sack. You had the huge stop on that 4th down play. It just seemed like they were unable to block you.
Well, they was unable to block the front 4 as a unit. You know, Antoine Carter, he did a hell of a job out there on the end, especially Mike Brunk on the inside with me. You know, those guys, I got to give it to them for my seniors. We did it for y'all, baby.
This is the highest scoring offense in college football, and they put only 19 points on the board against you guys.
So that's one thing as a defense this year, man. We bent a lot, but we never broke. And we came out here, we said we're going to hold offense down. We know our offense is going to put on points, and we did that.
Congratulations to you as well. Coach, going to bring you back in one more time for one last chance to address this Auburn crowd, and again on this national championship that goes to War Eagle.
53 years, baby. This is for you. War Eagle.
A very jubilant crowd cheering for their Auburn Tigers. Brent, back to you.
Thank you very much, John, and congratulations to Coach Chiswick, the Auburn Tigers. Toomer's Corner Live, Auburn, Alabama. Reminder, fans, to tune into SportsCenter right after the game on ESPN. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, Desmond Howard, and Nick Saban. Chris Fowler and the gang will then have full post-game coverage, guests, press conference, analysis, and more. So, Herbie, you and I will come back. We'll wrap it up. I'll get your top 5 for next September. Just kidding. We'll be right back.
The Ford BCS postgame show is brought to you by the new 2011 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough. Welcome back to the Ford BCS postgame show.
Well, there is Cam Newton, the quarterback of the Auburn Tigers, and you can relive his magical season with the new BCS Champs app for the iPad. Check out hundreds of game photos, exclusive analysis, and a streaming replay of tonight's game. Coming tomorrow to the iTunes App Store. Well, we've had a Heisman Trophy winner come up and win a national championship, and that hasn't always been the case, but we now have done it in back-to-back years. Remember, Mark Ingram won the Heisman, Alabama, but you can see that a lot of those fellas had trouble, but not this group. These are the ones who won the Heisman and the national title in the same season, and now Cam Newton joins us.
What should not get overlooked in this celebration for Auburn is that Casey Matthews knocked the ball away to give Oregon a chance. As much as Auburn's defensive line dominated, Oregon hit the touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie the football game up, to set the stage for a huge comeback. The big run by Dyer, Newton again being a hero to set up eventually the game-winning field goal.
So we have come to the end of another grand season. It seems like only yesterday that we started back in September with Boise State beating Virginia Tech on Labor Day weekend, and then the stories just kept on coming. Herbie, what really stands out for you now in this season?
Well, I think Cam Newton, I think it's very fitting considering everything that he went through this year. Again, not just winning a Heisman Trophy. I don't know if I've ever witnessed a player go through such individual scrutiny off the field and have to continue to block that out and go out while people were talking about his dad, talking about him. Some of it was real, some of it was fabricated, and he was able to block it out and get out on a football field where it was kind of his oasis and make magic happen. I think in 2010, when you think down the road and think back to this season, I'm going to think about Cam Newton and how special he was as an individual and how he made this team a championship caliber team.
You know, I'm going to remember the little guys like TCU winning the Rose Bowl, Boise State making its grand run, all the brouhaha we had, all the debate, all the argument, and yet we wound up with these two teams unbeaten playing here for a national championship, and Auburn simply deserved to win. They played better than Oregon did tonight.
They sure did. The coaching staff had them ready to go, came down to the last few minutes, and Auburn found a way, and how fitting for Gene Chizik in his second year as a head coach to win the national title.
Up next on ESPN SportsCenter with more from the Tostitos BCS National Championship. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Congratulations to Cam Newton and the 2011 BCS National Champions, the Auburn Tigers of the SEC. Congratulations, guys. You deserve this. This is for all the Tostitos. Auburn wins the BCS National Championship. This is SportsCenter.
The national title has been won. We're going right back out to Glendale for complete highlights, expert analysis, and what the players and coaches on both sides are saying. Stirring the pot again. Bills' un-Belichick-like response to Rex Ryan's challenge. And what Tom Brady said about Rex, calling him out. Hey, what's the deal with the Carmelo blockbuster? The obstacle still standing in the way. And what Carmelo himself thinks of all the talk on SportsCenter.
It's personal. It's about him against myself.
Good evening, or on the East Coast, good morning. With Steve Levy, I am Scott Van Pelt. We welcome you to SportsCenter. Oregon and Auburn play for history, and Steve, a crystal ball to remember it by forever.
Scott, the 37-day wait must have seemed like a lifetime for this collection of Ducks and Tigers, and it figured to be a whole lot more points than punts.
Maybe.
To decide the national championship. That was close in a lot of ways. Time now for the Ford BCS post-game report. Chris Fowler anchors our coverage from Glendale, Arizona.
Steve, Scott, thank you. Wes Byram's sixth game-winning field goal. His final kick as an Auburn Tiger. Does it get any better for a kicker than a walk-off game winner? And Gene Chizik in year 2 on the Plains wins the BCS National Championship. Joined by Lee Corso, Urban Meyer, recently retired of Florida, and Nick Saban, each with a pair of BCS championships. Well, we expected a wild shootout.
Yeah.
We got kind of a bumping and grinding game back and forth. Finally decided on a frozen moment. More on Michael Dyer's run to set up the game-winning field goal in a second. But first, Nick, your reaction to how this game unfolded. Surprised?
Well, not really, because we said in the beginning of the telecast that how Oregon could handle Auburn's front was going to be the key to the game, and they couldn't. I mean, they couldn't run the ball, and Auburn manhandled them and outrushed them 256-76, and I think that's the difference in the game. They also couldn't block them up front. Auburn's defense did a great job against Oregon's high-powered, no-huddle offense, so you got to give Auburn a lot of credit. They were very well prepared and did a great job.
Nick fairly dominant. Number 90 was a nightmare. Ducks only had 75 rushing yards.
A lot of credit to Ted Roof, the D coordinator at Auburn. They had 36 days to prepare for that no-huddle offense, and they held them to 5 of 15 on third downs. For the year, they're almost 50%. And so they got them out of their comfort zone by having them third and long, and not any offense, especially Oregon, doesn't want to be in that.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
2 national titles in a row. And listen, Wes Byram, that was his 4th winning field goal in the last 12 games for Auburn. Magnificent kicker.
3 this season. That was about the easiest field goal of his life because Michael Dyer made the run to set it up, and the freshman running back for Auburn becomes just the second freshman to become the outstanding offensive player ever in a BCS championship game. Your running back Justin Vincent did it at LSU back in the 03 season. Let's check the highlights here. Cam Newton swaggered in, conveying confidence, showing tremendous charisma. We thought it was Vince Young-like, the way he kind of elevated his Texas teammates when they knocked off USC for the national championship. Well, Michael James, also a Heisman finalist, Doak Walker Award winner, would have his most frustrating night as the ultimate prize, the crystal ball, awaited. But the adrenaline of the moment, guys, both quarterbacks really struggled early. It was a shaky start. Darren Thomas, the off-target throw off the hand of Kenyon Barter, and Damon Washington, the senior corner, makes the pick.
Well, We said that 37 days between the games. The offense is going to struggle early.
And then it was Cam Newton's turn to make a mistake. Adrenaline, he sails this pass, and Cliff Harris makes another pick.
Well, you know, I think Cam made a poor judgment and decision there. Nobody took the guy to the flat. You know, Auburn was effective in throwing that route throughout this game and hit a couple big plays on it, but he made a poor choice right there, and it cost him.
6th interception this season for Harris, the playmaker. Newton, though, not rattled. Ensuing drive for Oregon. Thomas pressured. Again, Zach Etheridge makes a pick. This time it's down in the red zone. That was the story for Oregon. They couldn't convert in the red zone fairly with the pressure, Urban.
Well, both turnovers were because of pressure and then a bad throw, a tip pass. Anytime you can force a quarterback to have to throw that ball early, the receiver wasn't even turned around yet.
Anybody expect a scoreless first quarter? Early in the second quarter. Look at the penetration once again. Down near the goal line, the spread unable to be effective. They just couldn't block number 90.
Well, and this play is actually designed not to block him, but the quarterback's got to read it, and he probably should have given the ball off here, and I think we walk in. Oregon would walk in.
They settle for a field goal. It's 3-0. And finally, in the second quarter, Newton would heat up. He would begin throwing accurate passes. Gus Malzahn would get in a play-calling rhythm, and Oregon's defense struggled to contain receivers in space. Cody Burns, the converted quarterback, his first touchdown reception of the season, puts the Tigers on top. Nick?
Well, you know, the bubble pass is a big-time play for Auburn. So they actually overplay the bubble pass, and nobody takes the vertical receiver. It ends up being a big play for Auburn and a touchdown.
How about the guts of this call? After reversing the kickoff, return doesn't work. They throw it deep on the first play, and there's Jeff Mayo loose for a long gain. He is tracked down after an 81-yard gain.
Huge momentum shift. Auburn scored a touchdown. They run a fake kickoff return reverse. It does not work. They come right out from his own end zone and hit an 81-yard big play.
That would be the longest play of the championship game, but it took until 3rd down. 3rd and 6 from the 8. Somehow they leave LaMichael James wide open in the backside.
That was a throwback, and it was a second play. They got everybody going one way, whoop, the other way.
Just the 2nd touchdown reception of the season for the man who scored 21 as a runner. Then they steal a point. Yes. It's the 2-point conversion on the option as the punter, Jackson Rice, the pitch to Rob Beard, catches the Tiger. And look at the athletic play by the kicker.
Well, you know, that was a great call, actually. You know, I think if you're going to go for 2 sometimes, it's good to do it early and sort of mess up the multiples in the game from a score standpoint, and Chip Kelly certainly did that.
It was 11-7. That would prove huge later on. Newton lowers the shoulder time and again. He would pick up the first down with runs and clutch throws. Nobody all season has been able to stop this.
Well, I tell you what, one thing that Auburn is very effective at, when it is 3rd down and 5 or less, Cam Newton really makes a lot of plays with his feet, whether it's a pass or a running play.
They expect to run it on 4th down. This is maybe the easiest throw of his life, but he short arms it to Eric Smith, incomplete. Oregon makes a stand. They have a shovel pass and pick up yardage right after this incompletion, and you think they're going to get out from the shadow of their goal line. But a penalty pushes them back, and that is huge. As Chizzy's defense comes up with the play, LaMichael James hit in the backfield by Fairley's backup, Mike Blank.
Well, that's a 9-point swing. Oregon goes in, or Auburn goes in to score. Safety by Oregon. That's a complete change of momentum in the game.
11-9, and then on the ensuing drive, 1st and 10 from the 30. Newton escapes pressure. Emory Blake is wide open down the field.
That was a swing route. He made man for man against a linebacker. It was all over.
Yeah, how are you going to have 58 Kenny Rowe,
That's a linebacker.
You know, this is one of Auburn's favorite plays, especially when they put the formation into the boundary. The linebackers got to run with it through there with the flat defender. They mismatched them, and they had another big play on this later in the game.
No teams ever lost a BCS championship game after leading at halftime. They have been 11-0. Auburn gets the ball to start the second half. Time and again, Oregon's defense would have to come up with stops. They're going to hang in the game, but they give up the big ball here to Lutzenkirchen.
And it's really the same route.
Same route. Pressure. Here, watch.
This is a different guy.
But watch Cam Newton, how much time he has as well. I mean, that offensive line's manhandling Oregon right there. There's no pressure whatsoever on the quarterback.
Well, at least the backer this time tried to take him, but he couldn't match up with him.
They would get to 3rd and 5, and then Cody Burns overthrown by Newton. They would settle for a field goal. It was 19-11, still a 1-possession game, and Oregon's defense relieved to get a stop right there. LaMichael James picks up 5 yards after the play. Fairley whistled for a personal foul as he got to shove James' face in the ground. He's been doing a lot of that with the Big Ten official right there. It cost him 15 that time. Got away with it a lot during the regular season. Darren Thomas, again, pursued by Fairley. Oregon fortunate to recover the fumble.
And this is another one of those mismatches up front. You know, Nick Fairley has made so many big plays for them all year. That's another big sack.
On 43, another gamble by Chip Kelly on special teams. And Rice shows the touch. They actually had him covered, but the receiver got open. First down.
This is the first time I've seen Oregon play live, and some of the calls, that's aggressive ball, and it gives his kids a chance to win.
Lavassier 2-and-A. Back after an injury, juggles it, pulled down at the 2-yard line. Demetrius McNeil makes a touchdown-saving tackle at the 3. Look at the focus by 2-and-A. Picks up 43. It's 1st and goal. Huge moment in the game. Barner. Stuff for a loss. Again, the spread shows its weakness.
Yes.
Can't go under center, and Thomas isn't 250 like Newton is, Nick.
Well, they show the blitz there. And then on the second play, they actually showed the blitz. Oregon called the run. They got out of the blitz and still stopped them.
3rd and goal from the 5. Well, Michael James wasn't in there for the sequence. He had a hand injury, so it's Barner down to the 1. So they're going to go for it on 4th down. And again, it's not James, but Barner. And the wide run stopped as Fairley got in there again to penetrate.
Well, there's a difference between a spread and a single wing. And down there, you want to be in a single wing and let your big quarterback or your big tailback run the ball.
Oregon's offense, guys, was shut out for 38 minutes span of this game. So we go to the 4th quarter. Newton scrambling. Huge play here. Ball is punched loose by Casey Matthews. A first big mistake by Newton since the 1st quarter. Oregon down 8 is in business.
But yeah, sometimes when a quarterback carries the ball like this, and Cam Newton does it sometimes, this is just a heads-up play by Matthews to punch it out from behind. It's a big play in the game and got the momentum back to Oregon.
Ensuing possession, 3rd and 5 from the Auburn 40. Again, it's Lavassier 2-and-A, and he's open, but Thomas could not make the critical throw right there. So it's 4th and 5. DJ Davis in traffic, gets a nice screen from the umpire there. Etheridge rubbed off by the official, and it's 1st down inside the 10-yard line.
Well, this was a bunch pass, and they blitzed and were in man-to-man and rubbed the guy off and made a big play and got him down there ready to score.
So again, it's 3rd and short, 3rd and 1 from the 2. And James on the shovel pass inside scores the touchdown.
They got to trick him to get a touchdown, not run it in. That was a trick play.
2-point conversion to tie in the final 2.5 minutes. Jeff Mail back against the grain. Leaping catch in traffic. 19 apiece. Somehow Oregon equal in this game after just hanging on.
I'll tell you, 23 after watching this guy play, I stood next to him. He's not the greatest looking player, but he is a heck of a football player. He made plays all night.
So what would happen in the final possession with Cam Newton with a couple of timeouts be able to navigate in the last 2.5 minutes? Michael Dyer, the freshman, 5 yards there as the Oregon defensive line freezes. And so did Dyer until the sideline told him you never touch the ground. 37 yards later, it's a 1st down inside the 25. They reviewed it, and the call on the field stood.
Well, this is really, you know, defensive players must finish the play. I know it looks like the guy's down here, but he really isn't. It's a tremendous effort, second effort by Michael Dyer. Great balance and body control to continue this run, but it is the play that put them in field goal range, and what a play.
Inches from being down, but that moment of hesitation, all 22 guys in the field stopped playing. Dyer put Nelly to muscle down, and this was called a touchdown. They reviewed this one, and this time the call did not stand. They ruled that his knee was down. So with 10 seconds to go, a decision. Newton would go back on the field. You can see it's a good call. Back on the field.
I wondered, I questioned that call right there.
I wondered
what if he
tried to get in, didn't he?
Yeah, but what if he fumbled the ball? He didn't need a touchdown. He didn't need a touchdown. Byron was going to make the kick.
It didn't look like they were trying to score, but they were already in the middle of the field, have a good kicker.
Yeah.
A great kicker who finishes a great career.
Yeah.
As we said, his 6th game-winning field goal, his 3rd this season, and Gene Chizik. In year 2 at Auburn, they were just 3-5 in the conference a year ago. Had those 4 comebacks from double-digit. And the Gatorade bath, very sweet. Coach's trophy goes to Auburn. Finally, perfection is rewarded. They've had 3 undefeated seasons in the last 20 years. Nobody in college football has had more. But Terry Bowden's perfect team in '93 couldn't win a title because they were on probation from the Pat Dye era. And in 2004, the 13-0 team, denied by the BCS system, didn't get a chance to win it on the field because USC and Oklahoma played. And finally, the 2010 season, 10 days into 2011, a perfect season is awarded for Auburn. They win their first national championship since '57, and that wasn't a consensus title. Reese Davis on the field with a special guest.
All right, Chris, 41 points scored in the entire game. That's fewer than either team averages. Lou Holtz and Mark May alongside, and the defensive most outstanding player of the game, Lombardi winner, Nick Fairley. Nick, I want you to tell me, what was the emotion like when you saw Byram split the uprights and you knew you had the championship?
Oh, man, the emotion was high, you know. I was like, wow, you know, all the work that we did this summer and the spring, it paid off. So now we're able to hold that crystal ball up.
You made huge plays on the goal line. I want you to take me through the one play on the read. They left you unblocked, and you made a big tackle against Aaron Thomas in the backfield. What did you see? What were you trying to do?
Well, one thing we worked on that all week, and Coach Rock was like, just take the quarterback on the dive, no matter what. Don't be caught in between it. I just took the quarterback so happy kept it, and I was able to get a fumble, and so happy to recover it.
Okay, we're going to show you the tape here. Here's the play we talked about. It was a huge stop on 3rd down, forced them into a field goal try.
Yes, sir. And, you know, like you said, they'll be unblocked.
Nick, how surprised were you that they left you unblocked in a critical situation down in the goal line like that? You're the best football player on the field, and they didn't block you.
Well, that's a play that they run. You know, they lead the nose unblocked on the 3 technique. It so happened I was at the 3 there, and they left me unblocked, and I was able to make a great play.
A lot was made about the pace of play, how fast it was going to be. And I noticed they substitute a lot of people. You stayed in there, and the longer the game went, the harder you played. Did you get tired? Did the pace of play affect you?
Not really. You know, that's one thing Coach Rock wanted the D-line to do, and let's leave it all out there on the field. And I told him, if you leave me out there, I'm going to leave it out on the field, and I did that.
How much film did you watch before this game? Studying Oregon.
To be honest, probably a good 20 days worth. You know, we was off 37. I watched about 20 days worth of film, you know, trying to get ready for this offense.
When you heard all the talk about the offenses, both yours and Oregon's, both have put up huge numbers. How personally do you think the defense took that you guys on both sides, particularly your defense, is being overlooked?
Yeah. Well, you know, we've been overlooked all year, especially with Cam being that quarterback in our offense, our high-power offense. So as a defense, man, we like to play sometime behind the scenes, and we knew it was going to take us to play good for us to win the national championship today. You know, that's one thing we did. We said we're going to go out there and lay it out on the line for the seniors.
Now, you have an opportunity now to think about your future. When will you start thinking about that? What will your decision be?
Well, probably when we get back to Auburn, I know I'm going to sit down with Coach Shears, Coach Rocker, my mom and dad, and we're going to have a long talk probably in Coach Shears' office. We're going to hope I come out the right decision.
Well, it's been a remarkable season for you, Nick, and a great game tonight. 5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. Congratulations. Nick Fairley, been a great defensive player all year, Chris, and certainly he played huge in the biggest game of the season tonight against Oregon.
I sure did, Reese. He's a guy that came out of Mobile, Alabama, detoured through a junior college to get his grades sorted out. Was kind of a spot starter a year ago. Overcame sleep apnea, which is a problem that really sapped him of a lot of energy. Ran roughshod over offenses in the SEC, Nick. He knocked your quarterback out of the game, forced a fumble, turned the play around. Was it his quickness, or what was it specifically that Oregon couldn't deal with as a front tonight?
Well, I think the great thing about Nick Farley is he's not only got great quickness, but he's very powerful, and he's very instinctive. And he uses his hands and moves his feet, and you watch him in pass rush. He really attacks a guy and can bull rush or beat you with his quickness. So this guy's a unique player and probably a top 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah, I think his future is pretty much decided. I'm not buying the hesitation there. He's bound for the draft as we expect Cam Newton to be. We talked about it, Urban, pregame, the theme of defensive quickness and speed from the SEC. Shocking the offense that wasn't prepared for it. Oregon had 6 300-yard rushing games this season. They were held to, what, 75 tonight?
Yeah. Throughout the course of the game, you could see them wearing them down. And we went down to the sideline for the second half, and I even said something to you.
Yep.
Oregon's defensive line, you could see them just getting wore out. Where Auburn, the people in the blue shirts, were getting stronger and stronger as the game went on. And just the physical size.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see on the sideline the difference between Oregon's interior linemen and Auburn's.
You know, Nick's had a great year. You know, he's an All-American, but he was named to the Auburn all-time defensive team this year. That's
pretty good.
That's right. And now he's got to make a decision. You got to be kidding me. A national title and all those things.
He was the defensive leader all season, but I think it was a complete team effort by the Auburn defense. It wasn't just Fairley. I mean, he made a lot of the signature plays, but the secondary, which was much maligned because of the pressure up front, or because perhaps of the stubbornness of Chip Kelly, they didn't go at it that much. They were very persistent with the running game.
Well, they didn't throw the ball down the field much, and when they did, they made a couple big plays, which were instrumental in scores for them. But I think what we said earlier, can Darren Thomas win the game and throw the ball effectively enough? And Auburn's defense made it one-dimensional for Oregon. He had to do that, and they were unable to do it consistently enough. And I don't think it was just the secondary. I think it was the pass rush, it was the pressure, it was the four-man rush, and took him out of his game, and he couldn't throw the ball down the field. And they did a good job of pressing the bubbles and the screens, so their passing game was not as effective as it needed to be in terms of making explosive plays.
Massive disappointment, obviously, for Chip Kelly in his 2 seasons at Oregon. He's lost only 4 games. It was the Rose Bowl loss a year ago to Ohio State, and now 3 points short in the Tostitos BCS championship game. Here's Kelly with Aaron Andrews.
All right, Chip, thanks for your time. First of all, let me ask, just with your team, what did you tell them?
I loved them, and that same thing I told them after the first time I ever coached them is that one game doesn't define you as a person or a program, and we lost a game to a really good football team tonight, and that's what happens in this game. You know, you take the ups or the downs. We had a tremendous season, went 12-0 in the regular season, and lost in a national championship game on a field goal with no time left on the clock. And, you know, there's a lot of other people would like to be in your situation, but that's what happens. That's what makes this game great. It was a heck of a football game.
You mentioned right when you walked up to me, Nick Fairley just couldn't find a way to neutralize him. I mean, what were you guys talking about on the sidelines to try to counter his attack?
You know, he's just such a strong, versatile player. Obviously, he's the best defensive lineman in the country, and he proved it again tonight. And, you know, give him the due he deserves. He's a good football player.
The strength of this offense has been the running game, not able to get it going. What was the biggest problem there?
They're blocking those 4 guys up front. Yeah. They're good. You know, it's good. It's good defense. Ted Roof does a good job. Gene's a defensive coach. You know, congratulations to Auburn.
Thank you so much for your time.
You know, Chip Kelly, you know, like all coaches, there are going to be humbling moments in this sport, and his offense that run roughshod through all opponent except Cal in the regular season. Really limited by Auburn, and the trend continues, guys. SEC defenses allowing way below what those high-powered opposing offenses had scored. This is an Oregon offense that averaged 49, held 30 points below their average, held about 89 yards below their average, but held way below their rushing average.
Well, but, you know, I still think 2 key plays in the game. Maybe it's a flaw of the spread offense, which I think is very, very difficult to defend. Their numbers speak for themselves. But when you have the ball in the 1-yard line coming out and you got to stay in the gun and snap the ball 5 yards deep in the end zone and get a safety, and when you need 1 inch on the goal line, you need to be able to run a direct run and have a runner that can knock them back so you can score.
A runner like Tim Tebow you had when you were in Florida. I mean, this is the spread's weakness.
Well, I had the play called if the Tebow was out there, and I think the whole world would have known it's coming. But I agree with Coach. And the one thing, that's where you would not use a spread. You use something called a single wing, and that's nothing but direct snap to equate numbers, and you get a big horse back there, and you try to gap block him and knock him off the ball.
You know, I was on the sideline the whole time. You got to give Chip Kelly a lot of credit, because Oregon is not look like the same team Auburn is. No. And I'll tell you, his play calling and the way he got him going, he kept them in ball game.
Well, he used to say to his team in the locker room after the warm-up, guys, we lost another pregame warm-up because the other team does look bigger and more impressive, but he felt that his team's preparation and the tempo would make the difference, but the tempo never really could force Auburn's defense.
You know what's being lost in this whole thing is both teams with 36 days of preparation defensively. We thought that. They did a heck of a job. Nick Aliotti, they took Cam Newton and held him to 64 yards rushing. So that was not a well-executed offensive game. Oregon took away Cam Newton, and Auburn took away James, held him to 49 yards rushing, and made him do things they didn't want to do. For example, Dwyer had 143 yards. Newton had to throw the ball for 265, and then Thomas had to throw for 360. They're not comfortable doing
I'll tell you another thing that messed up the spread and all that stuff. Timeouts.
Yeah.
The timeouts with TV. They got a lot of time out, got a lot of rest.
Yeah, there's an extra TV timeout. The breaks are long, and that does help the defense conserve energy. And finally, it was the Oregon defense wearing down as the true freshman Michael Dyer, the 37-yard run when he appeared to be down, but wasn't. 143 for the game on 22 carries. Post-game comments with Tom Rinaldi.
The most important play in this game, deep in the fourth quarter, you running the ball, when you stopped and thought you were down, what happened?
You know, I kind of rolled on top of him. I wasn't sure if I was down or not. I was trying to look for a whistle or not, but I didn't hear one. And my coach said, "Come and move." I heard a fan saying, "Go." You know, I just kept my feet moving and tried to keep going and get some more yards out of it. You know, it was a great play, and God was with us the whole night.
A true freshman who breaks Bo Jackson's rushing record at Auburn. What were your expectations when you arrived here this season, Mike?
Really just be a part of the team on the offense, and everything kind of progressed quickly, faster than I thought. But, we just came out there and played good tonight, and our offensive line did a tremendous job, especially our defense. I was just trying to be a part of the team.
What did you see as this game developed from their defense, which allowed you to run with more and more success?
I knew our line was going to get some push tonight, and they kept opening up holes and creating ways for me to go. And I just kept knowing that I knew it was going to be there every time because of the way they play their defense. And I was trying to come out there and make plays.
We told the story of why you wear the number 5, Michael. We shared it with America. People know about it now. What does it mean tonight?
It means a lot, having that story, being played, a couple days ago, and me come out here have a good day, a good game tonight. And, my dad was, watching down, and right before we played, I did the same routine. I kissed my jersey, I prayed on, and I asked my dad to be here with me, and I asked God to be with me tonight. So, it worked out for me.
There's the collective joy that you guys have both felt as a team, and then there are the private moments, the inspiration that each guy has and the people that they remember that have helped them along the journey, some of whom are here in the stadium and some of whom couldn't be here. And you talked about Michael Dyer explaining his motivation there. By the way, I have a report here that Cam Newton has gone for x-rays. The facility within the stadium, we're not sure why. We have not been told what part of the body is being x-rayed, but Cam Newton apparently playing at least part of this game with an injury that they want to check out for x-rays. Of course, if more information becomes available, we'll keep you posted. But Newton punctuates his Heisman Trophy winning season by quarterbacking Auburn to a national championship, a complete team effort, and a kiss of the crystal ball as the more than half-century wait for a national championship at Auburn ends here in Glendale on Monday night.
The Ford BCS postgame report is brought to you by the new Ford F-150. Visit bcstailgate.com for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate F-150.